Hey folks, welcome. Here we discuss real stories by real people. Today we have the story of a man who finds out his girlfriend has been hanging out with a guy she met days ago while visiting her family. Let's see how it goes. Story 1. Hey guys, I, 25 male, have been dating a girl 20 for the past few months. Was in a long-term relationship before that, about 2 months in between, where I was cheated on. I try not to let that get in the way of my current relationship, but she thinks I'm just biased with my views on some of her actions because of my past. Here's what's going on. Current girlfriend has a tomboy personality. She's pretty girly girl on the outside though. She's really into comic books, etc., and has plenty of guy friends because of her hobbies. Does it bug me a little that she has lots of guy friends she hangs out with? Sure. I'd be lying if I said I didn't think about it sometimes. I've never complained about it though, and she does her thing because that's her right. I know quite a few of her friends want her pretty badly. One of her best guy friends refuses to even be around us because he's in love with her. A few other guy friends admitted to me, not sure why they told me this, that they would sleep with her if possible and if she was single. All this makes me feel a bit off, but this isn't the main issue. The main issue is what I found out today. She's out of state right now visiting family with her parents. We've been keeping in contact through text, but I've been giving her a little space to be with her family. She texted me an hour ago saying she's mad at her parents. Apparently, they won't let her leave to go hang out with her friend tonight. They technically own her car. I wasn't aware she had any friends where she's visiting, so I asked who it was. Turns out while she was at the store a few days ago, she met some guy who has similar interests. They somehow spark up a conversation about liking the same things when they're in a place that's not even relevant to said topic. They exchange numbers and have been texting. She didn't tell me anything about it. I guess they planned on hanging out tonight, just the two of them. She wasn't planning on telling me, as she didn't think it was relevant. Am I wrong thinking this is weird? Just randomly meet some guy at a store in a state she's unfamiliar with, text for a few days and doesn't even mention any of it to her boyfriend, and then makes plans to go out with him at night and not tell me about that either? Am I just being biased and thinking about this too much because I've been cheated on a lot before this? I just think it's weird and not right that she didn't even tell me about this guy or their plans. I feel like if I met some girl out and gave the girl my number, texted her a bunch and went and saw her alone without telling my girlfriend, I would be in trouble. And it would be wrong. Update. We talked. Found out she's actually been hanging out with him for the last 2 days. We've been texting that entire time and she never even mentioned it. She kept telling me she was with her family. Found out he had dinner with her and her family last night too. Told her, F you. Bye, Felicia. You were right breaking things off with her. You lost trust in your girlfriend because she didn't make you feel secure enough in the relationship. She met a guy and she hung out with him for days without telling you about it. The least she could have done was tell you about the guy she just met. That way you would feel a bit secure. I would say someone like you shouldn't be in a relationship with someone like your ex who has multiple friends who are boys. Next time you're going into the dating world, keep that in mind. Now for some comments. Yeah, that's why you don't date girls who only get along with guys. Because, of course they do. How could they not get along with a group of individuals who would bend over backwards at the chance of sleeping with them? Stick to girls who have female friends also. Means they can handle relationships with people who call them out on their shit. I was pretty clueless in the same way when younger. I had lots of guy friends, and as far as I could tell, none of them wanted to be more than friends. I found out later that I was wrong. I didn't realize that guys would want to have sex with you without being in a relationship. Yeah, I was that naive. Tell her how this makes you feel. If she knows it makes you uncomfortable and still does it, that tells you something you need to know. I think she's kinda naive because she's used to dude friends. As a girl with male hobbies and who is accustomed to having a wide variety of male friends, it never occurred to me when I was younger that all these guys pined for me sexually. Hell, I'm an adult and I'm still naive about male interest until the guy's basically lunging at my vagina during a movie. This guy is not her friend. Either she's just used to chatting up guys so didn't think to mention it, or she enjoys the male attention. Doesn't matter what her end is, but this guy is not her friend. This guy wants to put his snake down her hole. If they hang out alone, he's gonna go in for the kill, and well, her parents won't allow it because they know he's not her friend. I don't know if she's a serial cheat or just a Dumbelina. Story 2. I, 31 male, am self-employed and have several successful businesses and ventures that keep me working 50 to 60-hour weeks on the regular. Although I am successful in the sense that I have a nice house, eat well, have a couple older cars that I own, and a nice big car payment for the wife, 30 female, and kids, 4 female, 7 female, newest whip, 2018 and 2019, have been a real financial struggle thanks in part to my newest venture. I have worked for and with Brad, 37's businesses over the years, and continue to in various ways to this day. This new investment in business has been a significant investment of time and money for all of us. We opened this new business 1 year ago, and in that time, I've spent 5 to 10 hours each week behind the scenes in various capacities, in addition to maintaining our other businesses and my family's main source of income. Brad contributes 30 to 40 hours each week inside the business, and my wife spends about 20 hours a week in business and another 10 outside behind the scenes. Although this recent investment was our first partnership, I've known Brad for 12 years. He helped me start every single one of my businesses, and have worked directly for his company as a graphic designer with my marketing firm for over 10 years. My wife and I met in high school. She followed me to college, and we've been going steady ever since. Married in 2011, we had our first daughter in 2012, second in 2015. We started a business together in 2013, thanks in part to Brad's encouragement and support. And we worked together operating that on the weekends while she raised our kids during the week and I spent way too much time at work. We've always had what I would consider a happy marriage that only grew stronger when we had kids and opened businesses together. We fought as I thought all married couples do. Over the last year, we've discovered that Brad's wife, 39, has a personality disorder, and that he and their children, 4 female, 6 male, have been in an emotionally abusive relationship for years. Within months of the business opening, it became apparent that Brad's wife would not be able to contribute to the business like the rest of us because of her emotional instability, and I had to sit her down and tell her as a friend and partner to take a back seat. She did that for some time, told us all she got some medication, and eventually came back in very limited and superficial ways but was able to contribute a bit. About 4 months ago, my wife and Brad informed me that Brad had decided it was time to separate with his wife, and that everyone would be better off for it. We all agreed this was a good move for his personal life. During this time and over the last year, my wife has spent a lot of time in the business and worked directly with him in many ways. They became very good friends, and she is his counselor in a sense. My wife and I felt like we were helping our good friend get through a very tough situation. We've all been friends for 10 plus years, and we're all very professional. And Brad and I, as well as my wife, are very respected business owners in the community. My wife and Brad started to spend a lot of time together in and outside of the business within the context of talking and working over the last few months. The babysitter bill doubled, and it started to feel like my wife was spending way more time than necessary at work. I confronted her in various ways about that, but she would dismiss it as the busy season and her and Brad maintaining a very precarious situation with staffing, etc. About 4 weeks ago, before I knew of any funny business, I kind of had a mental breakdown. I cried in front of my wife and told her I felt like something was wrong with me or us, and that I was really stressed out and anxious about money, our relationship. And she basically told me I should go see someone and that everything was going to be fine. She's always been the encouraging and optimistic partner in our relationship, and I was just feeling like I was in a deep rut. She admitted then that she was also in a funk and maybe needed to get away for the weekend. I decided to go see my brother in Philly, and Grandma took the kids. She said she went to a spa in the hills. Friday night after our weekend apart, my wife ditched me. We were both at work, and when I tried to link up as things were wrapping up, she was nowhere to be found. We had some very delayed texts, and she was at home with the kids by 10:30 and I was working until at least 2 a.m. That week, my friend James had been texting me to link up, and at some point late that evening after my wife was already home, he sat me down in a quiet place and told me he thought Brad and my wife were having an affair. I doubted him and told him how insane that would be. Reassured him that they and we were all great friends and that could never happen, and Brad is still going through his divorce. Well, I went home and made my wife sleepily open her phone in the middle of the night. I grabbed the phone out of her hand before she could do much more than open it, and she had it open to the text with Brad that confirmed a full affair and sexual relationship. I barely saw anything, but I knew everything I needed to know. She quickly followed me out of our room, got her phone back, and deleted his texts. She admitted to the affair and told me it had been going on for weeks or months. I was in such shock and disgust that I couldn't hardly process anything. She was also half asleep and had probably taken a sleeping aid. She said she was sorry, she needed time and space, and somehow we went to bed. I barely slept, and the next morning I was at Brad's house by 7 a.m. He was awake and came out to meet me when I arrived and got in my car. I knew that he knew that I knew when he got in the car. We had a very somber and confusing conversation where he apologized and said he didn't understand how it all happened. Seemed remorseful and told me I needed to talk to my wife. I came back home with breakfast and talked a little more with my wife. She told me her head was spinning and that she needed to go to work that night and to talk to Brad. I said that was a terrible idea and begged her not to go, but after I went to work at 4 p.m., she dropped the kids with the babysitter and spent the entire evening until at least 11 p.m. with Brad out of town, out of work, talking and getting dinner. I came home late that night and woke her up trying to get into her phone. Things got heated and I could have broken her arm, but thankfully I didn't. In the weeks since, I've hardly slept or ate, but as I understand my situation now, my wife and Brad have chosen to continue to have a romantic and emotional relationship with each other, while they continue to work together in and outside of the business. They've both told me that they're in love with each other and they can't stop it now. Brad's divorce is still ongoing and precarious to say the least. My wife has told me that we're done and that we need to focus on how to be good co-parents moving forward. She said that she's willing to do 50-50, but we need time to sort out our future in the business and figure out a new living situation. She said that we will get a divorce, but isn't really discussing anything specific, with the idea that we will need to continue to hold our joint household until Brad is ready to move her out with space for all the kids, I guess. She took off her ring about a week ago and has told several friends and family members that we're separating. She knows how devastated I am and said that she loves me but that she isn't in love with me and hasn't been for some time. Thinking back to our biggest issues, which have resurfaced in light of our current situation, I've been emotionally disconnected in her eyes for years. Perhaps her entire marriage, as she has suggested, and she has ultimately been comfortable but unhappy for several years. We would clash in silly ways at work, but I wrote that off as us both having strong opinions and personalities. I smoked too much weed and she hated that. I'm always late and she hates that. We fought about sex and intimacy, but we're still having regular sex right up until 3 weeks ago thanks to my persistence on that front, I'm sure. Personally, I've continued to go to work and work with them both in our businesses, although perhaps a little less directly. The staff is all super suspicious and probably knew before I did. Both my wife and Brad have limited their time at work and placed some of our other managers in their stead, but still insist on working together on certain aspects and projects, and tonight they're off at a business event out of town with some of our senior staff. I can only imagine the hotel accommodations. It's too painful to ask my wife if she's staying in Brad's room while I'm at home with the kids. All of our businesses are just a pile of debt at this point, so there's not really a clean or clear way out, except to make them successful and eventually someone buying someone else out or continuing to be partners as we all raise our kids together. I guess I'm just writing this down to cope. It's also effed up I don't even think I've properly explained. I've begged her to stay with me and get couples counseling, which she has refused. I've cried a lot. I've been angry, depressed, jealous, anxious, and just absolutely devastated. I still feel like I'm gonna wake up from this nightmare any moment. OP, sometimes the people we love more than anything don't love us as much as we do them. The best thing for you to do is to make sure that you have your kids and you treat them with love and respect, along with your ex-wife. Be the better person in this situation. I know it will be hard to do so, but it's best for you to move on from this terrible time in your life. Don't lose your business, and make sure that you get a therapist and let them help you. Ask your parents to move in and let them help you. Go out and enjoy life. I know it's hard right now, but there's someone out there for you, and someone that likes you for you.